So I live in Crystal Lake, Illinois, which is like northwest suburbs of Chicago.
Okay.
I am a real estate lawyer. I'm also a licensed real estate broker. The real
Thank
estate
you.
law, yeah, the real estate law thing is the majority of my business, but I do, practice on the broker side every now and then, just sort of keep current on what's going on, or I have family and friends that request that I do it. I had my practice in the city of Chicago for 16 years. Um, I have been practicing since 2001. I've had my own practice for about 19 or no, actually it's been over 20 years. It's been a long time. I lost track.
2001 would be 22 years ago.
Yeah. So,
I can do math. Oh my gosh.
yeah, well, lawyers can't do math historically. So,
Yeah. Yeah, they can, but it'll cost you $300 an hour for them to do
yeah,
it.
exactly. So, yeah, that's it. I have a trans daughter who is 17. I am very interested in helping people flee states like Florida. It's appalling to me what is going on
Yeah.
right now with the rights of the whole community. The Florida thing scares the shit out of me, to be honest. It's just, I don't know. I just want to help.
The two of them are, Florida and Texas are racing each other to be the most bigoted.
Yeah.
And there's Alabama going, wait, that's our territory,
Yeah. It
So
makes Alabama look like chill compared to what they're
yeah.
doing.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've heard recently that Tampa canceled their Pride.
Yeah.
Because they don't, the drag queen issue.
Yeah.
Texas legislature adjourns on the 29th of May, I believe. And if they rush a bill to Governor Abbott's desk and it takes immediate effect versus 60 to 90 days effect, all of our June Pride events are in jeopardy. If we have trans people or we have drag queens, and I'm not going to leave any letter of the alphabet behind.
Right.
But then the whole thing becomes, are the organizers now in an organized crime conspiracy to break the law? Is, if somebody shows up in pants and they're gender female,
Right.
or where does this go?
Well, and the
Where does
whole,
this go?
it's not only that, it's women's rights. I mean, all of these, abortion laws that they're passing, which are just, I mean, unreasonable. Like, it's crazy to me. It makes me very thankful that I live in a state that's pretty, liberal and blue for the most part. I mean, there are, some outlying areas of Illinois that are red, like kind of out here is purple. You've got
Right.
about half and half. You've got the real red people and you've got the real blue people. I sort of consider myself an in-between person, which I think most people would say, I'm very socially liberal, but conservative, fiscally, with what, the government spends their money on and stuff. But, I'm concerned for my own child, and gender affirming care, her safety, especially. I'm worried. I mean, and I was worried before, but I'm worried even more now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. From our perspective, we started Flee Red States. I started as Flee Texas about this time last year. For the previous 2 or 3 years, for most of the Trump administration, my friends and I were sitting around going, oh, where are you going? What is your plan B? How are you getting out? And I've got friends who've gone to Portugal. I've got friends who are in Puerto Vallarta. I've got friends who are in the northern states of the New England area. I've got people in the UK and Ireland. People are getting out. And as we started the Flee Texas site, we started getting calls from people in other parts of the country. So we expanded it to be Flee Red States. And now what we've done is we've gone to Flee United States. Because what happens when we lose a Supreme Court case that says no state can have extrajudicial, protections? Right. Every blue bubble state pops. I've got people who are living in Dallas, it's the Oak Lawn area, in Houston, it's the Montrose, and Florida, it's Wilton Manor, the gay bubbles. those aren't going to exist because Texas just has Texas has a bill right now that can reverse local ordinances.
Yeah.
Those bubbles.
Yeah, it's crazy. My daughter's actually talked a lot about leaving this country completely, which I don't blame her. I
Look
mean,
at Portugal. Is your daughter college age?
She is going to be a senior next year, so soon.
Congratulations. So having a student visa is just a golden ticket into any of the, as long as you've got some money to pay for school, and you can get a student visa in most of these countries. And then as you're in there as a student, you can go to every employer and be like, hi, you should employ me. And the UK, Ireland, Portugal, some of the Eastern European countries have good visa systems. Some of the Caribbean countries are not so accepting, so watch out for some of those. But I've been trying to profile and understand all the visa systems for the other countries, so that we can help people understand with the Rainbow Underground Railroad how to get out.
Right. Well, and that's good knowledge for me to have because, I've traveled to Europe and, been to different places, but I don't necessarily know how welcoming, some of these countries are. So it's good to know, like Portugal is one of them, and UK and Ireland, I figured were in that list, but it's
I think Amsterdam is as well, but I'd have to double check myself on that.
Yeah.
And there's medical care there. There's women's rights there. There's all sorts of different things that we just don't have.
Which is so crazy that we're even having this conversation.
So I'm sorry, remind me, your family law, what's your
real estate attorney.
Real estate attorney.
Okay. We use real estate attorneys actively here in the buying and selling process.
Okay.
So unlike most states where it's just an agent and a title company, people hire an attorney to help guide them through that process. So we are actively in that process from time of contract to closing. So I will attend to closing, explain all loan documents, make sure, all the legal stuff is in order. So I'm deeply involved in that process.
But one of the concerns we have, I'm a real estate broker. So one of the concerns we have is, let's say that Obergefell gets overturned and gay marriage is nullified. What happens to the marriages that have already happened? Yeah. What happens to the property rights that come with marriage? There are so many rights that come with the two words, I do. Yeah. That we can have documents created to try to simulate a separate but equal union. But what happens to my spousal rights upon death? What happens to my spousal rights if they try to sell the property they had before our marriage? What happens to all of that? And
I dealt with some of that before gay marriage was legal, because I do estate planning stuff also. Mm-hmm. So before, couples were legally able to get married, that was kind of one of my pushes was, you need to have some legal documents in place. Because especially for healthcare, if you've got a partner, in the time you weren't able to be legally married, they had no rights whatsoever. They were, the family, immediate family was the one that had rights, and they may or may not have had a good relationship with those people. So I dealt with a lot of that, and I still do deal with it, and sort of advise everybody, but especially, gay and lesbian couples to have something in place just in case, because, unfortunately, things are not guaranteed anymore. I mean, I thought when they passed the gay marriage thing, that was it, we were done, yay. Clearly not.
And we went to sleep.
Yeah.
And we went to sleep. When we lost this battle, this major battle, was when McConnell stopped Obama from having his last Supreme Court justice. We didn't realize it at the time. We thought Hillary would win. We'd have another 4 years. McConnell would cave to Hillary. That's when we lost.
Yeah. That Supreme Court justice was really a pivotal thing for all of this to be happening.
Yeah. Looking back in time, it's easy for us to point that out. At the moment, we're just oh, McConnell's just being a jackass again. But that's, I think, our critical failure. And I don't know that we could have changed him. But he had the upper hand because he had the Senate. He could lock it up. Yeah. But that's when I think, And correct me if you think I'm wrong here. We have very few rights that came through the Congress and got signed by the president, and most of our rights are judicial generated
Yes.
rights. They're coming
Yes.
from 5-4 Supreme Court cases, Oglefeld, Lawrence v. Texas,
Yes.
those sort of Roe v. Wade. They're coming from 5-4 split decisions that now that they have a 6-3 court, we're not going to see those come back for a generation.
Yeah. Well, and these guys are in it for life, pretty much, which is scary because some of these, I mean, the new people are like in their 40s. It's like, Jesus, we have to wait like, 30, 40 years for the shit to turn around again. And will it? It's
and thus the question becomes, what do we do about it? And one of the people I follow, he's a blogger. He talks about getting people to other countries for tax benefits. And he has an analogy. He runs a blog called Nomad Capitalist. And so his idea is, if you go to a restaurant and you get horrible food and you just get sick, and you're never going to go back there, and you're going to tell all your friends, don't go to that restaurant, it's horrible. You're going to go to a restaurant that competes for your dollar. That's going to be like, hey, we want you here. We serve good stuff. Everything's going to be great. States should compete for our dollars. And not just states regionally. I mean, countries. If I'm paying Texas taxes through my property taxes, my car taxes, my sales taxes, everything else, and they give me no civil rights, it's not going to bother me to pay state taxes to a blue state and get civil rights.
Well, and all this stuff with Disney too, and Florida. I mean, it boggles my mind. Like, I'm in disbelief at what's going on right now. Like all the things.
Multi-billion-dollar company, right? They're a multi-billion-dollar company who has outstanding credibility with the public,
right?
Who has at least, I think, 6 to 8 major theme parks around the world, and you want to go piss them off? You want to go piss them off, okay?
And they're like a huge part of Florida's tourism money. I mean, who doesn't go to Florida to go to Disney World and all of that stuff?
They just pulled a $1 billion development out of Florida. They just pulled a $1 billion development out of Florida.
I saw that. They deserve it.
And I want to know, I'm looking back, I try to study history as much as I can. I'm looking back at the apartheid movement in South Africa, and all the musicians refused to play that one venue, Sun City. There was a whole song about, we're not going to play Sun City. We're not coming to South Africa and benefiting your economy until apartheid is dead. When do we have Taylor Swift and Katy Perry and all these major groups say, we're not playing Florida or Texas. We're not coming to your state until this changes. And by the way, Katy Perry and Taylor Swift, if you're watching this, do that. Stop coming here and giving us the money, because frankly, we need to change the economics before the rights will change.
Well, and that's the way to hit people, is their pocketbook.
Right. When we have companies like American Airlines and Southwest Airlines in Dallas, and we have so many other companies that I can't think, when they have more progressive DEI policies and inclusion policies and women policies, there are companies now that will fly you out of Texas to get women's health. On their insurance now, they will pay to have you go to a friendly state so you can get a normal procedure.
Right.
Until that level of change happens, I don't know that we're going to get anything back. Yeah.
Well, and gender affirming care is another thing.
Exactly.
And it's not only minors now, they're targeting adults, like grown adults. It's for the children. No, it's not. This is
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, this is like, trying to disguise this whole like bigotry. I don't know. It's just so crazy to me.
We had a political forum here in Carrollton, and Carrollton is, a suburb of Dallas-Fort Worth. And we always have a forum when there's a mayor's race or a city council race, or maybe sometimes school board. And I asked the question, who supports gender affirming care, such as Viagra, Cialis, menopause medicines, hair loss medicines? Who supports, and I had a whole series, I had it better put together than I do right now, just trying to recount it. Those are all gender affirming care. And I pitched it as the city insurance policy for city employees already includes gender affirming care, including, and I listed all those issues. Who here supports continuing that? And all of them raise their, well, it's already in the policy, we should include it. Yeah, but then you want to single out gender affirming care that's not related to impotence or menopause or hair loss or one of those things that you're okay with.
Right.
Because those are gender affirming care issues.
Yeah.
And when you have a lot of 50 and 60-year-old men running for office, they're suddenly listening to that.
Well, they need their Viagra.
And they need it to be free.
Right.
Right. But women shouldn't have health. Trans people shouldn't have health. Gay people deserve it. It's that same bigotry that we've had for years. So how can somebody contact you? How can somebody reach out to you if they wanted to? And we're just going to take all of this and make the podcast.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So
yeah.
my website is Fearless Legal Services.
Okay.
So all of my contact information is on there. I've got an About Me page. I've got a blog, a bunch of information on just what I do and how I do it. I focus very much on personal service. I use a lot of technology to help clients keep informed on what's going on with their transaction. I have clients text me, email me, call me. I'm working real estate agent hours for the most part. I don't have the standard, attorney banker hours, which I think is another benefit for people. So yeah, that's where you can reach me.
Realtor hours, you just take the hands off the clock because it doesn't care you're working.
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't matter. I kind of gave up trying to work normal business hours a while ago. And both my kids are teenagers now, so it's, it's fine.
So if somebody was moving to Illinois, other than the Chicago area, where would you consider to be someplace, I don't want to ever say safe, but where's someplace in Illinois where somebody who's LGBTQIA plus would feel comfortable?
I would say, most of the suburbs in the Chicagoland area are pretty good. I don't have a lot of knowledge of the South Side areas because I've never lived there. I would imagine that there are areas that are good. For the most part, the North Side, especially when you're closer to the city, is very friendly. Cities like Evanston and Skokie, Highland Park, those areas have generally been very welcoming, Evanston especially.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people in the community that live there. Out by me, it's still, friendly for the most part, but there's a different political demographic out here compared to closer to the city where you've got, like I said, it's about 50% blue and 50% red. So you will, it's not a matter of being unsafe anywhere.
It's probably not as radicalized as it may be here.
No, it's not. It's not at all. I mean, you'll get the, for example, we have a place in a couple of towns over called Uprising Bakery, and they're, owned by the community. And they had Antifa people out there in front because they were having drag bingo, in like a drag brunch on Sunday. And there was a huge
You mean the Proud Boys?
thing about
Antifa would not be against that.
Well, yeah, the Proud Boys. I'm sorry, not Antifa.
Let's keep our militant side.
Sorry, Antifa. So yeah, Proud Boys. They had, people camping out front there, and there was a big hullabaloo about it.
Yeah.
But they got a ton of support from people. They were vandalized. They got a ton of support for people to, rebuild and stay open. They were having trouble with their business. They got a huge influx of funds from people to help keep them going. So, I would say pretty much any area on the north side is good, but the closer areas to the city, the better.
So every Pride event for the last couple of years now, in Plano and Frisco especially, we've had the Proud Boys, and they're full black gaiters. You can only see their eyes.
Yeah.
Their AKs are slung on their back. They take pictures. They have either the telephoto lens or they'll just walk through with their camera, and they take pictures of the book of people they don't like for their list. It's at that level. And so some of my friends who are in blue states will give me really kind of Pollyanna advice about, well, go to your legislator advocate for change and keep
Yeah.
voting for Beto and just buck up and donate more and door knock. And it's like, those strategies may work if you live in Nancy Pelosi's district. But my people here, they're kind of craving for this level of fanaticism. I don't think I can walk into my state legislator's office and say, hi, we're with, Carrollton Pride, and we'd like to talk to you about the bills you're passing.
Yeah.
They're not going to give a crap. And frankly,
No.
they know they can get more votes if they make us the villains. And
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had that experience up here at all. I mean, I've
thankfully
seen, yeah, and I mean, I'm very grateful for that. I mean, I've never, like I said, the thing at the bakery was like a small group of people.
Yeah.
But it was scary because we don't see that up here
Yeah.
on the regular. We don't have people assembling in that nature. That was like huge news because it just doesn't happen up here.
When we had the shooting in Pulse, when we had the shooting at Colorado Springs, which I don't remember, that Club Q, I think, when we had 31 people jammed in the back of a U-Haul truck to go beat people and hurt them at the Idaho Pride about a year or so ago, we have this level of vitriol and a level of armed combatants that are just ready, and just, to use their term, triggered to be ready. And then here in Allen, Texas, we just had the mall shooting. Every day or two, there's another shooting. For our Pride event this month, actually June, 2 weeks away, the Carrollton City Emergency Management team has contacted us and said, we want to be involved. We want to understand your plan so that we can be, not to shut us down, but to support us. And I was worried at first they were going to shut us down, but they want to be involved because all the crap going on. We should be able to have a community event and not live in the fear of having armed intruders at the event.
Yeah.
And I know it's in every state, blue and red, but it's in the red, it's much more prevalent. I went to Ireland at one point, Ireland and England. I love there. And my husband at the time, we took the traditional tour bus trip from Dublin all the way over to the cliffs on the west side. It's a 4-hour bus trip. And we were there during June. And so Ireland had all their Pride stuff up in Dublin. London had all their Pride in London. It was great. There's one town in the middle of Ireland between, 2-hour stop, pit stop, pee stop and get some food, get back on the bus and make the other 2 hours. Their whole town is about this. We get out of the bus, there's 5 restaurants to pick from. And in the middle of rural Ireland, there's Pride flags.
That's amazing.
I was like, they get us. You go to rural Texas, you have white power flags.
Yeah, we don't see any of that up here. It's so crazy.
That's when I was like, that was one of the other like puzzle pieces that locked into place and went, they get us. They're okay here.
Yeah.
I feel in this tiny little town in the middle of a country I've never been to before, I feel welcome. I don't feel welcome in a state I've lived in for 30 plus years.
Well, I can see why you set this whole thing up. I mean, I didn't realize how horrible it actually was.
And even if we don't have people in our face every day, just that psychological.
And that atmosphere that's crazy.
The rust or whatever that's wearing down the metal that that holds you together is just, the whole community is feeling it. And to have somebody up in the northern state say, you're welcome here, thank you, is so appreciated. You being a beacon up there going, we're okay up here, come on up.
Yeah.
And you get us, you have, I love your sign, love wins. You have trans people in your family. You have probably LGBT, all the other letters in your family. That's important. And so thank you for doing that.
Yeah, I'm very happy to help. I'm glad that Bob connected us because this is something I'm excited about, especially, with everything going on recently. And now after talking to you, it's like, I knew it was bad, but like, it boggles my mind how horrible it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's living in
Do
fear and
do you know about,
discomfort.
do you know about our abortion law here, where if I suspect Sally had an abortion, I can sue Sally for $10,000. And if I think her cousin Jeff drove her across the border to get the abortion, I can sue Jeff for $10,000.
Yeah.
And the state goes, we're not enforcing the law. People are just suing each other. And the Supreme Court said, yeah, that's perfectly fine. There's a bill right now to have the same law, but take the word abortion off and say librarian. If my kid walks into a library and sees a book I don't think they can see, I can sue Margaret, the librarian. Not the library system, not the city, Margaret, who's just over there stamping books and going, shh. I can sue Margaret for $5,000 if my kid sees a book I don't like. That's a bill. It hasn't passed yet, but it's a bill. What happens when they take that same law and take the word abortion off and put homosexual?
Right.
If I suspect Bob's a poofer, then I can sue him for $10,000.
I can't believe this is going
How many
on
people
in the
have I
United
pissed
States.
off in this state already? Because I'm kind of well known for poking the bear.
Sure.
How many $10,000 lawsuits do I have to sustain? How many attorneys do I need to pay? This is economic destruction. They're already like, there's the lesbian bar in Fort Worth that can't get, I think it's Fort Worth, who can't get business insurance now because they have drag shows.
Oh, yeah. It's real dangerous.
That's economic destruction. The insurance company doesn't want to be anything to do with drag shows. That's going to be illegal soon. They could get sued. So what happens when our bars can't get insurance? Well, you can't be part of TBAC because you have to show insurance to have a liquor license. This is going to criminalize our community. This is exactly what they want. And we're powerless to stop it.
Yeah.
Thank you for attending my TED Talk. Sorry.
Yeah, no,
Like
I said, I mean, I have, up here, we just see articles, we read articles and, see social media things but we're not there. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know really how it is to live with that every day.
And for your trans daughter, please find a way for them to find a better place, and for yourselves too. If you see the blue start to change,
yeah,
the idea that we're loyal to land, my grandpappy died on this farm and I'm just going to stay here forever. That sort of ideology is destructive. We should be able to migrate, whether it's within our own country or outside our borders, to move somewhere. I would love to talk to, if you have a friend, let me give you a couple of requests. I'd love to talk to somebody who's an immigration attorney who understands international immigration. I would love to have somebody come on who understands Supreme Court. I mean, obviously you do, but I mean, somebody who understands like the nuances of what the court's doing right this moment. That sort of thing would be elevating for the conversation. I've talked to people in other states and jurisdictions. I've done videos about each of the states and which ones were good and bad. A lot of those videos I did before the November election, but no state really flipped one way or the other. So they're pretty much still the same. Right. This one has a red this and a blue that, and it has this many. I went through and documented how many hate crimes were in the Southern Poverty Law Center and stuff like that. So we could say, hey, this state might be better for you or this state might not be. But I'm trying to kind of graph out where to put the pieces. How to help people. Like I know Greyhound, you can get to Los Angeles from Dallas for about $300. If you're at a point that you can't afford anything, you might be able to just get on a bus and get out.
Wow.
What was that old song, 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover?
Yeah.
Slip out the back, Jack, make a new plan, stand.
Neil Simon, right?
Yeah. Paul Simon.
Oh, Paul Simon.
Neil Simon was a politician.
The other guy. Paul Simon.
Yeah. What if we restructure? Paul Simon, if you're watching this, please restructure that song to How to Get Out of a Red State.
50 Ways to Leave Your Red State. There's an idea for you. Your next podcast.
Okay, this has been lovely. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm just going to take the whole video I'm just going to.
No, I don't care. Take whatever you need. Yeah, it was really nice talking to you. I'm glad we got the chance. If there's anything you need from me, let me know.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I will see what I can do about immigration and a Supreme Court attorney
Yeah.
in
It
my
just to help us with the
network.
ideas of, I know some things because I got some plans. I'm not talking about publicly, but I got some plans. But knowing about what the immigration process is to get into Canada or to get into Mexico, there's something called a digital nomad visa. If you can work anywhere in the world, just as long as you have internet,
That's cool.
you can go to Iceland for 6 to 8 months and renew it multiple times. As long as you pay for a house there or whatever, you just, you do your living expenses and you're paying their taxes, you can digital nomad in I believe Costa Rica and Panama.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, so there's all these places that do want us, that want to give us rights and have medical care and all these other things. And we're stuck here. America's the greatest country.
Yeah. Is
It
it
may
though?
be in some regards, but I'm not trying to trounce America. But when you don't feel safe,
Yeah.
you have the right to get to safety. Yeah. I just keep going. Thank you so much.
No, that's totally cool. It was very nice talking to you. Let me know whatever it is that I can do for you. I am here.
Okay. And anybody who wants to reach out, we're going to have your information down below in the podcast stuff.
Okay.
So it'll
Cool.
be there. Take care.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Bye.